Jussie Smollett is going to jail because of this man. This man has caused Jussie Smollett to go to jail. In this video, I'm going to give you a breakdown of what self-hatred puts you in a position to do. Hatred that had nothing to do with nothing, but to distract you away from issues where you need to be focusing on your life. Issues that should help you say, you know what? That person's a hot mess. I'm not going to be that hot mess. But this man put Jussie Smollett in jail. And we're going to talk about that. If you don't know who Jussie Smollett is, everybody's been talking about Jessie. I call him Jessie. His name is Jussie Smollett. Excuse me, sir. But since everybody else says your name wrong, Negro, light-skinned Negro, gay, penis-sucking Negro, I'm just going to cut to the chase and call you a Jessie. I could have called him Jim. No, that's too nice. I can think of some jack off, Jekyll, a joke. Maybe we should call him the joke of the hour. We're going to break that down because, see, this man helped put this man in jail. Now, somebody else, Shirley, how did Donald Trump hold it up? Dr. Watkins even said, this man put this man in jail. So, if Dr. Watkins inadvertently said it, I'm going to say it directly to you, and you're going to hear it from both ways. But for those who may not be up to speed on this story, let's bring you up to speed, and then I'm going to talk during the duration of this video so we can address the, so we can address a real truth about this, because I don't think everybody's really telling the truth of the thorough story of the matter. All we do is think about the man being crazy, which is nothing new. We know that already, but let's go ahead and move forward with that. Let's hear it.
Actor and musician Jussie Smollett from the hit show Empire was attacked and beaten early this morning in Chicago.
CNN anchor Don Lemon texted him at the time of the attack, sharing information that the Chicago Police Department did not believe Smollett's account of what happened.
His friend who was there texted me in the middle of the night and said, hey, this happened to Jussie. I called a friend. The friend happened to be there, and Jussie said, oh, Jussie's here. Here's the thing. So he told me in his own words what he said happened.
With the verdict just in the trial of actor Jussie Smollett, found guilty on 5 of 6 counts after 9 hours of deliberations.
And so the verdict is in, and the predictable has happened. Jussie Smollett is guilty, at least on 5 out of 6 of the counts. But it's not like getting to this point was easy. It really seemed like Smollett had all the cards in the deck stacked in his favor, straight from the start.
Okay, a lot to cover. We've got some breaking news. Actor and musician Jussie Smollett from the hit show Empire was attacked and beaten early this morning in Chicago.
Today, all criminal charges against Jussie Smollett were dropped, and his record has been wiped clean of the filing of this tragic complaint against him.
And get this, the records are sealed. The court says after reviewing the details and evidence of the case and the fact that Jussie does volunteer service in the Chicago community, they're dropping the charges.
So not only did
this thing was so rigged. Do you all see the patterns of hatred right here? Because of his hate for something and some cause and some people. Do you see these patterns? I needed to break down this man's little game that he was playing all the way back. Hold on. I didn't stop the video. I got to go back to this point because I don't know if they're going to show it again. When the police showed up on this Negro still had the noose on his neck. I've seen some of y'all in the comment sections on other sites have said this too. But I mean, really, nigga? Yeah, I just need you to see it on me. And the rope is nice and clean. If it should be dirty, you were fighting with these people and they beat your face up and you didn't roll on the ground. You looking nice and clean, but you got a hit face. Oh, that's a punk ass move right there. You come off like a little bitch, Jessie. I'm clean. My noose is clean, but look at my big black eye. That's not nice. Come on, Jessie, please. Let's keep going.
Okay, a lot to cover. We've got some breaking news. Actor and musician Jussie Smollett from the hit show Empire was attacked and beaten early this morning in Chicago.
Today, all criminal charges against Jussie Smollett were dropped, and his record has been wiped clean of the filing of this tragic complaint against him.
And get this, the records are sealed. The court says after reviewing the details and evidence of the case and the fact that Jussie does volunteer service in the Chicago community, they're dropping the charges.
So not only did the charges get dropped initially and the court documents sealed, you had Don Lemon texting him, telling him that.
Yeah, can you believe that? Don Lemon was texting him. Doing what is that? Wait a minute. What is that? We all know where this is going. Y'all know where I'm going with this. Where does this lead? You can't see the video, so I'm making some corrections. I'm looking at my feed going, I forgot to take Mr. Trump down. Because that's what this is really about. Like I said, this is really about how the President Trump caused this Negro to go to jail. Okay, now let me go back to sharing some stuff with y'all. Hold on. It's called technical difficulties, but it's all good. Okay, let me just cut to the chase. Don't want that one. I'm usually better than this one. Hold on. Yeah, we're going to watch that. Let's keep going.
The police weren't believing him after he testified.
Smollett testified that CNN anchor Don
Sealed.
Doing the details and evidence of the case and the fact that Jussie does volunteer service in the Chicago community.
They dropped it.
They're dropping the charges.
So not only did the charges get dropped initially and the court documents sealed, you had Don Lemon texting him, telling him that the police weren't believing him after he testified.
Smollett testified that CNN anchor Don Lemon texted him at the time of the attack, sharing information that the Chicago Police Department did not believe Smollett's account of what happened.
Okay, so isn't that an accomplice, right? So why is Don Lemon not on the hook? Because you put the two little dark boys on the hook from Africa, and then you put yourself on your hook, okay? Because you were the main culprit anyway. And then because it wasn't taken off, the spin didn't happen, you're not getting attention. The Democrats are doing something going on they want to get attention off of so we can focus on your little broke ass, only ain't gonna never act again, can't sing, Smollett ass. I'm sorry. This was a distraction. If somebody put in the chat room, and I know it's late in the morning, and I know y'all gonna wake up in the morning and say, I didn't know Shirley did a video, but I roll like this. Anyway, someone let me know if it's in this chat room or afterwards. Come on, do you really believe any of this? This is some bullshit. This is messed up. And then finally get exposed. But isn't Don Lemon accomplice? That's all, an accomplice. What does that mean? That means that he was in on it too. He was in there. You say, how? No, he wasn't in on. Why was he in here driving the narrative how real this was? Were you that dumb? Were you that dumb, Mr. Lemon? When we hear all the evidence, it sounds cuckoo. But when you hear the evidence, you have a serious concerned look on your face. Girl, please. I'm not. Don't smoke that kind of weed. Come on now.
Which honestly raises a lot of questions, and not just journalistic ethics ones either. Like, how did Don Lemon even have that information in the first place? Then he had the audacity to cover the story and act like he had no conflict of interest.
That's when I met him. I was asked to come on the show, play myself in a little cameo. He said he introduced himself and he said, I'm a big fan of, I love your work. It's good to have you here on the set. Very nice guy. We chatted for a couple times after that. I saw him maybe when he came to New York a couple times. I know him, not best friends, but I do know him.
It's kind of weird how Don Lemon would give all this information while making no mention that he literally tipped Jessie off on the police not believing him. Hence why he totally stopped cooperating with the authorities. It's almost like Don Lemon seen the way things were going and was trying to get ahead of the story by covering it in a more reasonable manner. Then Jessie took offense and spilled the beans on the stand. Just watch how the progression of this coverage goes, but keep in mind how he literally tipped Jessie off behind the scenes.
Look at that. Just look at that. Imagine that being your life right now. And then there's the letter. On January 22nd, a week before the alleged attack, what appeared to be a threatening letter containing a white powder was received.
Now listen, he's trying to get you to take this story seriously. Come on. The people from Chicago said it was too cold of a night for anybody to be out anyway. And in that cold of a night, how is somebody supposed to be knowing who you are? Then he said they were yelling out mega slurs and racial, probably calling him a gay guy and all this other stuff, right? Calling him bad names. The interesting part, and I want you to realize, he's trying to drive this story as if it's real. Like, you all should have concern about what has happened to my friend. When we all said, but your friend's story don't add up, boo-boo. It don't add up. Oh, come on. I'm sick of these news people right now that are out there with Como and all the rest of them. They are obviously not for our best interest, people. Americans' best interest at all. They're just not. They are totally about themselves, and they're driving narratives, and God doesn't like ugly, and they're being exposed based on their own ethics and counts of work.
At CineSpace Studios in Chicago, that's where Empire is filmed. CNN has obtained a copy of that letter last week, shared by a person close to Jussie Smollett. It included a message apparently cut from magazine clippings and a stick figure drawing, which Jussie described to ABC News as a stick figure hanging from a tree, which had a gun pointing towards it. I want you to stop and think about it this way, okay? Let's just stop and think about it this way. The police...
Now, he's acting like court judge and
did
jury.
not pull Smollett over in traffic. They
now
didn't stop him.
Now he's going to complain. He's going to compare this to innocent black people who were pulled over, who are harassed, and put him in the same category as Sandra Blatch and a lot of other people that are out there. Trayvon Martin. He's going to go, because Trayvon was here in California. He's going to go into comparing this man's self-hatred act upon himself. And he's going to compare that to black African Americans who died innocently by the police. That's what he's going to tie this to the police. That's why the police got mad at him too. The police ain't got nothing to do with your BS. You filed a complaint with the police, Mr. Smollett. You filed a complaint, and they all were lies. And when they read them off in public on TV, the first thing we all said, that nigga's lying. That's weird. It was just, you have that, you ain't got to have sixth sense. You ain't got to have no special, like, well, let me think this through. You should have had the instinct and goal to say, like everybody else in the world, when they heard the sense, who's got good common sense, saying, that boy lying. Come on now, let's keep going.
Kim, they were called in for his defense. What reason would they have to set him up? He brought the police to him.
Look how I'm trying to
So I just have a word for people who I see on TV just spinning and twisting themselves in pretzels, trying to figure out a way.
Like you doing right here, Negro?
Read the bond proffer.
Okay.
Take a look at the evidence.
He know you ain't got to look. You ain't got to read no
exactly
bond
what we'll do right
Let me tell you what they want to do. See, that's his way of pivoting and saying, I'm smarter than you because I read, right? That's what Don Lemon just said to y'all. I read the bond proffer and I'm smarter than you. I read. You ain't got to read nothing. You hear facts. We live in a generation that have low attention span when someone just keeps da-da-da-da-da. They ain't gonna do that. You've heard facts. They had the facts. We knew what was true to us. And now you're playing a manipulator to the game. You're an instigator of Don Lemon. You about as bad. You have Don Lemon, the two African people and Jessie, they all were wrong. Even the black man who did the news thing was wrong. Allegedly, that said hurt him. Well, it's no allegedly no more. It's facts.
Doesn't it make you look at this coverage differently when you realize what he did behind the scenes? And just after CNN lost its biggest talent on the network. If they lose Don Lemon over this, what will be left? Apart from that, though, I think we could look back at this quote from Jussie Smollett with glee.
I still want to believe, with everything that has happened, that there's something called justice. Because if I stop believing that, then what's it all for?
Look, he had to make that a political spin. This is a political spin. Look at this face. Look at this man's face.
And what's it all for?
In this case, it took a while.
That whole look and him doing this interview was another waste of time for his own attention. It reminds me of a situation we're in right now. We ain't in it, but somebody else is in it. Where you look at Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin is another situation. I ain't going down that. I'm not doing that video. I don't know. I might. What's interesting about Alec Baldwin is why is he doing interviews? Again, common sense. The people who watch my channel are shaking their head. You're right. Common sense. If I was in an Alec Baldwin situation where you killed somebody, you can't deny that. But he's denying it. He said, I would kill myself if I thought I killed her. See, that is a sign of a delusional man. Now, this might be a setup so he can play crazy, right? So this might be a twist, because why would you go on national television? I know I'm pivoting a little from this story because it's still narcissistic. These are men. I'm comparing him to Alec Baldwin because they both are about themselves. But why would you go on national television doing that unless you have an agenda to play crazy? Now, this one ain't going to play crazy because he thinks he's smart as the world. He thinks he's intelligent. He can't even lie with a straight face. The whole time he was interviewing with this woman, we all knew he was lying the whole time. And then when he calls himself the Black Tupac, I said, this nigga here, come on, man, really? Like, I'm from the Tupac era, dude. Serious. That nigga's from my state. What you say? Okay. That's when he said I'm the Black Tupac. I'm the gay Tupac. First of all, Tupac wasn't gay. He wasn't into the gay community. Let's say it like that. We all knew he wasn't gay. How do you know? Okay, so now you used to go on out there and say that to some of his people, that he was part of that. Because that's what that was leading to, too. I'm the gay Tupac. Why is Tupac and gay go together? Like, you hardcore, you tough. Like, what? Okay, anyway, I'm pivoting. Let's keep him rolling.
And what's it all for?
In this case, it took a while, but it seems that in the end, justice was served, at least in Jessie's case. His lawyers have already filed an appeal and are saying they are completely confident this will be overturned. Let's hope that isn't true, and that they're just stringing Jessie along to get some extra cash. Well, if you liked this video and want to see more content in the same vein, YouTube thinks this will be a great place to start.
And even if it was a hoax for the sake of bringing attention to this, then I'm like, that's low-key noble. Like, I'm at my wit's end about us censoring situations like this and wanting to make people...
Low-key noble. I'm not going on about this woman. She ain't on this show. And that's how she quit. That's why she left. That's a whole nother show. That's dead by now. But everybody's comparing this to Como. But I got to play what she said one more time. That is, again, what does common sense say about stuff? Makes you wonder. See, she's caping for him, too. Anyway. Just hear what she has to say one more time. I'm going to shut up.
This will be a great place to start.
And even if it was a hoax for the sake of bringing attention to this.
Even if it was a hoax. So she knows it's a hoax. Did she not just admit that? Even if it's a hoax. We are in an agenda with Angela Rye. We are in an agenda with Kamala wannabe Harris. We are in an agenda to get rid of that man, Trump, out of office. That's what we're in command with.
Then I'm like, that's low-key noble.
Low-key noble. Has anyone used those terms? You can't tell me that girl didn't methodically think this out. You can't tell me she ain't reading because she ain't looked straight the whole time and saying this. Let's analyze this, my people. Come on now. Let's analyze this. Because I mean she breaking this down, but are you really breaking this down? Are you reading, nigga? Really?
Bringing attention to this, then I'm like, that's low-key noble. Like, I'm at my wit's end about us centering situations like this and wanting to make people have to pay.
Okay. Okay. Shit, she's part of propaganda too. She sold out. She sold out. That's why she had to step down. That's the same reason why what was it? Tamara? I can't think of which one was on there. Tia or Tamara, I should say their name correct because I do know their name and I love them both. I think they're wonderful. Watch the one that cooks and watch the one's talking about her baby. Anyway, was that Tia? I think Tia. That is why Tia stepped down off of there because they kept wanting them to tell their lives. And she had no problem with that. She was telling her lies. Maybe she has woken up. Her name was Amanda, by the way. I know she is. I don't know her personally. I've never met her. But I've learned about her like anybody else, just watching people online and stuff. But why would she make that statement? Because she knew that was a hoax. Even if it's a hoax. Did you just say even if it was a hoax? So let's get it straight, sister girl. You gonna say even if it's a hoax, it's a hoax? This whole damn thing was a hoax and you knew about it? Oh, come on, people. This is what I'm saying. The way this country is read now, they don't want you to have no good common sense. You ain't got no good common sense. You can't think for yourself. So we have to be misled by a Don Lemon and a Como. We have to be misled by these people on how they think and how they want you to think. And then you're going to go in court and continue to lie. You too far deep down the dark rabbit hole of lies. So what do, Jussie Smollett? You keep lying. And you get your friend Don Lemon to lie. And he puts himself down the rabbit hole. And then you get Amanda who knows it's a lie. And what does Amanda do? What did she just say? I played it over and over. I ain't going to go back to it. Even if it is a hoax. See, she knew it was a hoax. Even if it is a hoax. Yeah, he had certain people in the media because at that time, another high profile watched show by Black community and the people he's trying to get people to support him. He's trying to get people of color to support him. So he got all his friends who were behind that camera. Probably somebody said something on The View that liked him too and found him innocent. Call your cards and boy, you're going to jail. Call your cards and nigga, you're going to jail. Let's go ahead and talk about Mr. Watkins. Let's talk about, because I know I have his name. And Mr. Watkins, how you doing? I like that picture of your smile. He was on another broadcast. Shout out to them. And I liked how it said Democrat. Now, those who know Dr. Boyce Watkins, he's not a Democrat. Dr. Boyce Watkins claims he's not in neither party. I don't know. I think he said he votes independent. I met Dr. Boyce Watkins. He's asked me to come on his show, and I haven't. I'm not doing any shows right now, but I probably will when I do come back because I think he's a good guy. I'm happy for Dr. Boyce Watkins. He's married. He's out there doing his thing. He's talking about his financial issues. And some things we agree, some things we don't agree. But I think that we can be civil about the situation. We don't talk about money, though. Maybe we probably will, because I'm really interested in hearing his perspective of the economy and inflation. But anyway, he didn't talk about that in this video. He talked about Jussie Smollett. So let's go here and hear him talk about Jussie Smollett. Or Jussie, say that Negro's name right. Jussie Smollett. Let's go ahead and talk about Jussie Smollett and hear what Dr. Watkins has to say about the boy. Here we go.
What's happening? I hope you guys are doing well. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. I want to media, right? I'm not really here to get.
Hold on. This is called late night technical difficulties, which I should not be having. But I do because I'm half awake, but I'm here. I don't know. I just wanted to get this off my heart. I think that's why I wanted to talk about this. But I said, oh no, I know I did something wrong. Okay. All right. I got it. It's showing. Let's go back. Here we go.
Hey, what's going on, Black people? What's happening? I hope you guys are doing well. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. I want to ask you all, give me a yes or no in the chat. Give me a yes or no. How many of you heard about the verdict in the Jussie Smollett case? Give me a yes or no. If you heard about the Jussie Smollett verdict, I assume you heard it and you followed it and you saw what went down. Jussie's going to be sent to jail. Or better yet, he's going to be sentenced. I don't know if that means he's going to go to jail. But it turns out that his whole racially motivated attack was just a hoax, that it was all a bunch of nonsense. And so, Tomiko, it is something that I'm discussing this, and I want to come at it from a different angle from what you might have heard in media, right? I'm not really here to get riled up over just the politics of it all, but I just kind of want to have an intelligent Black conversation about this because it's almost a joke. I mean, well, it's not almost a joke. It is a joke. It's a damn joke. I mean, the guy, what Jussie Smollett makes me think about. Anybody ever have a friend who was like a crackhead or like on drugs? And they, what happens when people get on drugs is they'll come up with an idea and they'll really think it's a good idea, right? Like they'll really think it's a good idea, but really it'll be like the craziest shit you ever heard. Anybody ever know somebody like that? Well, when they get high, they start talking and they think they sound smart, but they really sound stupid, right? Like that's what I think about with Jussie, because the whole Jussie Smollett thing was even contrived was absolutely insane. It was nuts. It was nuts. First of all, I mean, just beginning with the fact that Jussie picked two Black dudes to play the white guys. That right there, that's some more crackhead shit. I'm saying that's some more crackhead. Like he needs to go to rehab just even by thinking that if you're gonna get two white boys to pretend to be, if you're gonna get somebody to pretend to be white boys, get some white boys. Like you got two of the blackest dudes ever to like play white guys. That right there is weird. That's weird. That's even weirder than when they pick a white lady to play like Cleopatra or something like that, right? And then so I want to ask y'all this. How many of y'all, give me a yes or no in the chat. How many of y'all knew genuinely, just be 100% honest, how many of you knew from the jump that Jessie was lying? How many of y'all knew from the very jump, like that Jessie?
I want to pause that for a second. How many of y'all knew that nigga was lying? We all knew that man was lying. We knew that man was lying when this thing moved out like that.
Weirder than when they pick a white lady.
We all knew this man was lying because the story, it was too, what? When? Chicago, in the middle of the night, coldest night of the day. They yelled out, what? Mega. Gay mega. They yelled out racial slurs. They put a noose around my neck. You know what? They didn't kick you and beat you up. They gave me a black eye. They didn't trip you up, roll you up, trying to take your wallet. Okay. It's too much. The story was unreal.
To play like Cleopatra or something like that, right? And then so I want to ask y'all this. How many of y'all, give me a yes or no in the chat. How many of y'all knew genuinely, just be 100% honest, how many of you knew from the jump that Jessie was lying? How many of y'all knew from the very jump like that Jessie like was full of crap? Like Jussie, I keep saying Jussie was full of crap. I'm gonna tell y'all, I knew that it was BS. I knew it was BS because I live in Chicago, right outside Chicago. Anybody who lives in Chicago knows that on the night this crime happened, you don't understand. It was beyond cold that night. It was like literally, I kid you not. I remember listening to the TV and they said something like, it's the coldest day in the last 50 years or something. It was something crazy like that where it was so cold. I couldn't even go into my garage. I told my wife, I said, babe, I went to the garage for 2 seconds in my warmest robe and I still froze my butt off. Like I'm not, you don't even go out there and breathe the air. Like it'll freeze your lungs. Like it was that cold. So when I heard that it all happened that night, I said, that's crazy. Like, no, ain't nobody out there. You really, you a celebrity, you going out looking for a sub on the coldest night in 50 years. Like really, at 2 o'clock in the morning. You really try to go to Subway 2 o'clock in the morning on the coldest night in 50 years. Again, only a crackhead would think that story makes sense. Only a crackhead. Then there was another crackhead part of the story was the way it so politely fit into the media's whole narrative that we're all going to get murdered by white supremacists next Tuesday. Like that the Proud Boys going to come to our house and kill everybody, and all the Trump supporters are going to come murder you, y'all. They going to come kill you. I know a lot of white people voted for Trump, and ain't none of them ever tried to pull up on me yet. Not once. I ain't had one single. So it's funny, right? So the Trump supporting white supremacists that are out at 25 below zero at 2:00 in the morning looking for a Subway sandwich, that are really black guys dressed as white guys. I think they painted their faces white or something like that. Also, the other interesting part was the fact that they again, crackhead. This is only makes sense to a crackhead. This whole idea that they said, that's that nigger, you're that nigger from Empire, right? That they literally are going to recognize Jussie Smollett. How many of y'all, like I'm talking to black people, how many of y'all would have recognized Jussie Smollett on the street before 2019? Like how many of y'all before this incident would even know if I said, oh yeah, you know who Jussie Smollett is, or you saw him on the street? How many of you would really stop and be like, you're that guy from Empire? Seriously, don't get me wrong. Some of y'all watch Empire, and it's okay. I'm not judging. But you really think Trump-supporting rednecks are going to recognize Jussie Smollett from Empire at 2:00 in the morning on the coldest night in 50 years? Really? Like, again, I'm telling you, like I don't know how much I talked about it when it first happened, but I remember saying, that story's just stupid. That don't make no damn sense, and it's crazy. And here's where I wanted to address it, because you know me, I like to dig deeper. I like to go. I believe in being black and proud and intelligent. I think that we should want to be intelligent people, which means doing critical analysis, going beneath the surface. And here's what was going on with your country. What you saw was that people were so caught up in their frenzy, their political frenzy, that they would take any story any asshole would throw out for them as bait. They would have taken any story. He could have said that those white guys showed up in tutus and that they had wings on their back and corn cobs growing out of their ears, and they would have believed it, because this is what happens when you allow this Democrat-Republican stuff to cause you to get so devoted to taking a side that you do not listen to facts and information. You do not listen to logic. You do not listen to common sense. So what happened was even the mainstream media grabbed the story and they ran with it. They ran with it because they were willing to accept any lie in order to prove their existing theory. They could not think about this, right? If people are really getting chopped up and killed every single day by white supremacists, would you really have to go make up a story in order to find it? Like, wouldn't you have stories everywhere? Like, so imagine this, for example, imagine if I said, a lot of black folks are getting killed by gangbangers or getting killed in the hood. Do you think I'd have to go make up a story and find a black guy who was murdered by a white person or something and pretend like the white guy was really black and say, no, he was black? Like literally, do you think I'd have to make a story like that up? Or do you think that I could probably find 25 examples in the last week alone in cities like Chicago and other places? Right? Seriously, I wouldn't have to make it up. Because it's everywhere. It's happening everywhere. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to the graduation of my homeboy's daughter. My best friend Greg got killed when we were 25. He got murdered in the hood in front of his daughter. Right? Like literally, like this is everywhere. How many of you as black people know somebody who was killed over some like hood shit? Like seriously, give me a yes in the chat, or say their name. Say their name if you know somebody who was murdered in a situation that just didn't make no sense. It wasn't even right. A drug deal, somebody got mad, somebody stepped on somebody's toe at the club or whatever. Right? So a lot of us go through that. And so, but one of the things we can't really typically relate to is the idea that, that my black friend was killed by some MAGA hat wearing Proud Boy, that just wanted to kill black people for breakfast. It
didn't make no sense. I stopped it there because I want to go back into that. That mega scream out was intentional. Do you notice these people, including Amanda? You saw that little clip I played of her, including Don Lemon. You saw we played a little clip of him. How they all have these inner circle medias, including Joyce Reed in that as well. All these inner circle medias to drive narratives that are not going to empower our communities or America as a whole, but to lie and blame everything on Trump. Because what Dr. Watkins is saying is true. Some of y'all ain't got no common sense. Some of y'all really believe this. The ones that didn't believe it was thinking, okay, why are y'all caught up into this Republican Democrat stuff? I'm gonna tell you why, Mr. Watkins. I'm gonna tell you why people are caught up in the Democrat and Republican stuff. Because they paying $20 for gas right now. They really into this Democrat Republican stuff because they sit back and they see their mortgages going up. Talking about they gonna raise rates. You can't raise rates on an inflated market. Janice Yellen, you can't raise rates on people who should probably bought a home because they really couldn't afford that price of a home, but because rates were low enough and supported, then all of a sudden you said, well, the way we're going to fix this is raise rates. In the meantime, you let more people over here and you're housing them versus American good people. Oh, come on now, please. This is, it's Mr. Watkins. Let me help you out. There's a reason why this man was, like the rest of them, focusing on derailing Trump. And he was stupid enough to take his own brand, his own name, his own career, and continue to put himself out there in a falsified lie situation. That's how much they hated Donald Trump. His hatred towards Donald Trump has put him in a position where he could be going to jail right now. His hatred for Donald Trump. Don't you know it's kind of interesting? All these people who hate Donald Trump are on the spotlight right now. They want attention. Alex Baldwin, who hate Donald Trump, is in the spotlight now. When he should be shutting his mouth up left and right. I've said nothing and talk to counsel and try to get through this. Get through this situation. No, you and your crazy wife, who's going to be upset because you ain't going to be around to be sleeping, taking care of those 6 babies. Because if you get off, the people are going to be mad. Someone's going to be mad if you get off on shooting this woman and she's dead. But I want you all to see distraction. Alec Baldwin, who should be shutting up, is a distraction. Just like they created all that distraction with this man's story with the media. Watch and see if those stories don't coincide as far as a use of distraction. All because of what? Hatred to Donald Trump. I'm telling you, they all tie together.
Most of my friends don't have a story like that. We don't have stories that this was all made up. It doesn't mean America's not racist now. I'm not saying America ain't racist. Y'all know I talk about racism all the time. I talk about racism all the time. The reason that this false racism pisses me off is because you're missing the real racism when you follow the dog whistle politics. The dog whistle politics is causing you to miss the real racism in America. You see, this is why, for example, you could have shout out to Roosevelt Mitchell III out of St. Louis. Roosevelt Mitchell III brought up on his Instagram, and I shared it on my Instagram, The Real Boyce Watkins, which, by the way, is shadow banned because I guess I pissed somebody off. I don't know, but Roosevelt mentioned he said this is interesting that 1,000 homicides happened in Chicago this year. Did y'all know that? How many of y'all knew that? How many of y'all knew that there were 1,000 homicides in Chicago? There were 1,000 homicides in Chicago, a heavily Democratic-run district. The Democrats are running that. So many Black people die in Democratic-run cities that you would think that they want us dead.
I'm going to stop here for a moment. This is where you're on a late trait. Because there's been Black people saying this who are the Republicans for years. Now you say it. I don't think Tariq has really gotten heavy into it. But for your passion to not see that, and that should have been your number one notion. Not saying that Dr. Watkins wasn't saying it, but it was not as passionate as you're seeing it here. I met Dr. Watkins 2008, somewhere around there, maybe 6, I can't remember. And he came and spoke in the LA Basin small little theater. It was probably maybe 30, 50 people that could be there. And he probably had 25 or 30 people there. And he was promoting his movie. He was promoting his movie about Black Wall Street, which I thought the video was not the best quality, but the message was behind it and the heart and the passion was there. And it was a $20 CD and I bought it. He said, Shirley, why are you saying all this? I'm saying all this because that was where his passion was. He didn't drill the fact of what he's trying to do now, which is because the Republicans, I'm going to give credit to Black Republicans, some of the older ones who have been saying this for a long time, black on black crime, not just white people, but they know that if you're going to talk about black on black crime, then you need to talk about blacks killing blacks. But I got another method on that, but let's listen.
They want us dead. And I'm sorry, I'm sorry if it's if I'm getting too riled up about it, but it pisses me off. It's like, how in the hell are you gonna tell me 1,000 black people died in Chicago this year? Y'all ain't got nothing to say about it. You declared all these emergencies over the pandemic, but you can't declare a state of emergency over dead black people. But yet you run around talking about Black Lives Matter, but we can only talk about a Black Lives Matter and if they were taken out by a Proud Boy or a cop. But yet Black Lives Matter don't matter at all when these black people being killed right in their own damn neighborhoods. Seriously, what is wrong with you people? You're too stupid to be on TV. You're too stupid to be in power. You're too stupid to be running this country. And if you support that nonsense, I'm questioning your intelligence too. I really am. I'm not trying to be mean because I understand we got to be patient with people. It's going to take time to get there. But I'm literally trying to lay this out for y'all right now. Dog whistle politics makes you dumb. That's why I repeatedly tell you guys, I do not get caught up in the Democrat-Republican nonsense. I don't.
And I respect that he doesn't. But I have a difference with him on this. If you're not conscious to the scene of the crime, it may happen to you. Meaning that if you're not conscious of how this country is being ran, what it's doing to you, how you are now the victim of it, and you're not preparing about the days to come, then there's a sign of, I won't use the word ignorance is not what really the right word you said. It's a sign of just a lack of responsibility, maybe responsibility to yourself and to your people. Because to say, I don't get talking about the dog and pony show. Well, who is the prop in this dog and pony show? The American people. And which one is the clown? And which one is the one that they can beat up and toss back and forth and use? Oh, that's the black people. It's a circus. Damn, and I'm in the circus. I'm commodity and trades and goods and service again. So if you know this, Mr. Watkins, if you know this, don't tell the community and say, we don't need this to be a dog and pony show. We don't need that, because no, we don't need it to be. But guess what? It is. And we're the animals in the situation in the cages, and people watch and do nothing. But there's antagonizers. This is where I'm getting to. Hold on, stay with me. Like and click the subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe. But there's the method, and what I'm about to tell you is those antagonizers behind the scene are the white people. Maybe I whispered that too low. Are the white people. The white people fund these kids with guns and ammunition. Negro, you can't barely afford a piece of bread or a loaf of bread, but you got a Magnum. You've got all kind of semi-automatic, not automatic, but weapons. You know what I mean? You have guns. They doing YouTube videos, flashing up guns. Who gave them kids the money for them guns? How did they get access to those guns? And how are you, after all these years that the FTA hasn't stepped in and really get down on Chicago's drug trafficking? Because a lot of FTA members have got to know about those drug traffickers and those guns. And you gonna tell me, FTA, you ain't shut it down? No, because you probably been paid off too. Let's keep this thing going. I'm getting too dark in the waters.
I'm not participating in any of that. I'm black first. That's it, period. I'm not no Democrat, not a Republican. But I'm sitting here watching this, and I was sitting there the whole time, sitting there saying, wow, they really are so desperate to find something that fits their bullshit narrative that they'll believe any crappy story that anybody comes up with. I mean, right after that happened, Jussie Smollett was going on stage. I'm the gay Tupac. I'm the great gay. I whooped their asses. I fought back. I'm the gay. And everybody's like, Black Lives Matter. And the whole time I was sitting there like, I wonder if they're ever going to find out that this guy's lying. And then I wonder if they're going to be able to cover for his lie. Like, they'll probably, I figured they'd cover for it. I figured, he would never get arrested, some of the Obamas might cover. I didn't know. But I'm telling you, when you start getting to the point where you are so emotional about something that you don't see facts and logic anymore, then you're not helping the cause at all. You know, because remember, while they've got you caught up in dog whistle politics, like black people are only dying because Proud Boys and Trump supporters are murdering everybody. Let me ask you this: out of those 1,000 homicides in Chicago, how many of those homicides do you think were committed by Proud Boys or Trump supporters just deciding I want to kill you because you're black? How many of those kids? How many? Seriously, I'm not defending the Proud Boys or defending the Trump. I'm just saying, how many of those homicides? 1,000, right? Seriously, Young Dolph got shot down in Memphis, got murdered down in Memphis. If Young Dolph had been killed by a white boy or a cop or a Trump supporter, y'all be protesting in the streets. Ain't nobody protesting it. Like, black people die every week. As long as a black person kills them, it's okay. Right? Seriously, it's ridiculous to me. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it bothers me. And here's what I think is really happening. Right? They create this false narrative that your only fear is that some white supremacist is going to bust through your door and kill your whole family. Right? Which means that when they got you afraid of something that's not real, they get you to be not afraid of the things you should be afraid of. Right? If I can get you to afraid of something that is imaginary, then I'll get you to let your guard down with all the threats that are real. Do you understand what I'm saying? Give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying right now. If I get you focused on the illusion, then you will never notice the real threat when it's coming. So I see the threats. Don't get me wrong. I see the white supremacy everywhere. I see the racism. I see all of that. But I'm not looking at Jussie Smollett. First of all, that's one guy, one situation with one guy. Even if it was true that some crazy redneck hillbilly white boy decided to beat his ass, what the hell that got to do with me? What the hell that got to do with me? I'm not going to be out at 2 o'clock in the morning in 25 below weather looking for a damn Subway sandwich anyway. I don't even understand any of that. None of that shit made sense to me from the jump. Keep your ass home with your family, man. What are you doing? That's weird. Order DoorDash. You rich. You supposed to be rich. You can't order Uber Eats, and you really got to go out in 25 below. So it ain't got nothing to do with me. It's not my politics. That's the first thing. Number two, when I'm looking at threats, I see threats everywhere. You know where I see the threats? The threats are the black complacency that they use to lull you to sleep, that keeps you from being able to fight for real issues because they keep feeding you the dog whistle. So you show up and you're like, our neighborhoods are falling apart. We need some assets. We need some resources in those neighborhoods. Black man beat up by a white guy in Georgia. There's a black man 1,000 miles away from you who got into a fight with a white guy. Racism. Justice for Tyrone. Justice for Tyrone. Pay attention now. You don't know nothing about Tyrone. You don't know nothing about that situation. That situation ain't got nothing to do with you.
Real talk.
Seriously, you don't know what. I'm serious. It's for real. Is it not conceivable that this dude just got into it with a white boy and it had nothing to do with race? Like, seriously, is that not conceivable? Am I the crazy one for bringing that up? Seriously. And what the fuck does that got to do with you, your black ass sitting over in Virginia or in New York? It ain't got nothing to do with you. But you have been trained to believe that it does. You've been trained to believe that it does. So when I got you riled up about Tyrone, who got into a fight with a white boy down in, Cincinnati or some shit, you are not focusing on the real issues. Nothing real is happening in your life because now all your energy, pay attention now. Tell me if you get what I'm saying. All your energy now that should have been spent fighting for reparations is now fighting for justice for Tyrone. We got to get justice for Tyrone. Justice for Tyrone. So Tyrone gets justice, right? So let's say Ahmaud Arbery. Maybe he's the Tyrone, right? Justice is for Ahmaud Arbery, and the Democrats show up and say, we got justice for Ahmaud. We got justice for Tyrone. And you're like, yeah, thank you. And then they're like, now you're going to go vote for us, right? Because we got justice for Tyrone. I'm sorry. My heart goes out to Tyrone, but I want justice for all the thousands, hundreds of Tyrones that are getting murdered in the hood every day that you're not even paying attention to. I want to know about those. I want that justice, right? So here's what I'm saying, right? I don't want to disrupt your sensibilities about some of the social justice issues. I'm not here to undermine the empathy you might feel for the George Floyd case or any of these other situations. But not one of these goddamn cases has a damn thing to do with you. Not one of y'all were there when those situations happened, and not one of you has seen any benefit in your life on any level as a result of the justice that was received for any of those individuals. Let Ben Crump go handle that. Let him go file a lawsuit and get his pay, get his money, get a big check for the family, get money for Breonna. I want all of them to get crazy paid. God bless you. Good luck. I love it when Black people are winning. But at the end of the day, I think you need to really pay attention. I think you need to pay attention. First of all, they're making you into symbolism suckers. They make you suckers for symbolism. Says you sucking like a crack pipe. I need some more symbolism. Right? And that's what they do. They give you the drug of symbolism. You sucking it up because you ain't got nothing real to hold on to. Because all around you, the whole world is falling apart. All around you, you had 1,000 homicides in Chicago this year. 1,000. You know how big that number is? Think about how that's like, what, 4 or 5 a week? Wait, no, sir, I'm sorry. Silly me. I meant to say 20 a week. Sorry. I used to teach math. I should have known how to do that calculation. That's 20 homicides a week, 20 George Floyds a week in one city alone. That's 20 Breonna Taylors a week. That's 20 Ahmaud Arbery's a week. Right? Seriously, per week in one city. I'm not talking about Philadelphia. Record number of homicides in Philadelphia. I'm not talking about H-Town. I'm not talking about LA. I'm not talking about New York. I'm just talking about Chicago. 1,000 homicides in your community that is supposed to be protected and defended by your beloved Democrats. I'm not telling you to go be a Republican. I'm not saying that at all. But shit, if those are your friends, you don't need no enemies because your enemies are doing a damn good job of killing you. So I see the threats. The threats are 1,000 homicides in Chicago. That's a threat. The threats are that because they got you justice for Ahmaud or whatever, now they're forcing you to get injections of only God knows what into your body, where they're not even telling you what's in the damn injection. I'm not telling you that you shouldn't go get those jabs. You can go get those jabs if you want to. But when I saw that they released the announcement that they weren't going to reveal the results of the studies of side effects for 75 years or some shit like that, or maybe it was 50 years, you gonna try to convince me they ain't got nothing to hide? What? You think I was born last week? Seriously, I mean, how crazy you gotta be to just be okay with that? They have protection from liability. You cannot sue them. You cannot sue. So if you get that injection and something goes wrong, you cannot sue. And then also, they're not going to reveal the results of the studies of the side effects for 50 years. So what I'm saying to you is that these people are some liars, man.
I'm going to stop right there and I'm going to pivot just a little bit. Bear with me. Just go with me. And this is a whole different story. This relates to the Black Panther Part 2. Because you guys know right now that Latifah Wright, you know, Ms. Wright got sick and she got hurt on the set. So they pulled back and they said they have shot everything they can to this movie. They've taken, they've shot each scene. They've done scenes without her there that they can do without her. And then there's other ones that are going like, okay, we need her back so she's going to get in there. So she's coming back on the 22nd. In 2022. But the talk on the streets are in California, in Hollywood, is she really coming back or not coming back? That's the talk in the media. Another one of the talks on the streets, this is the street talk, is she's not taking that jab. So because this girl did not get the jab, she's not supporting the jab situation. And everybody on the set is supposed to have the jab. And in California, you are required by law to get that jab or you could lose your job. A lot of people are losing their jobs. And a lot of people, there's major lawsuits all across this country against the states and the feds over telling people they had to get the jab. That's why you see Texas pushing back. So he just talked about the jab, right? And she's probably researched it and looked all into it and said, I'm not doing that. Because you people doing it, I'm not doing that. But they need her, right? Because she did an amazing job the first round. And they need her. They want to promote their liberal agenda. Now, this is very, what it was, the holy ground, the Black Panther holy ground of the cinema, especially for Black people. If they twist this part 2 into a lesbian, women are smarter than men kind of production. Baby, black people should be in the streets taking all their Wakanda garb and throw it in the trash. If they take this part of the universe and they make it the lesbian, women are empowered, if a man can do it, I can do it too, you can forget it. I think that's why she might be leaving. So I think that she's more conservative than a lot of people know privately. I've heard her mention Christ, and I've heard her mention a lot of things, little small innuendos of political things that make me think, she's a little different. She doesn't fall into their protocol of driving narratives. If she doesn't agree with it, she don't agree with it. I think that's going to be a brighter story. Pay attention to that. I might do a video on that in the future. Let's finish this one out.
They lie. They lie. They not only do they lie, but they will defend the lie. Think about it. These people are so desperate to create and maintain a false narrative that they were backing Jussie Smollett till the end, until they absolutely had to give it up. And then even then, they somehow flipped it into saying, well, it was really Trump's fault. So I'm sorry, don't get me wrong. Trump ain't no great guy, but I have no idea how it was Trump's fault that just
Dr. Watkins, Donald Trump is a very great guy in my books, just for the record. But I agree with you. You had to admit this is a lot of cuckoo-ness and not reality. And it's a lot of distraction. Why? Because of their hatred towards Trump. Let's cut to the chase. This ain't about Jessie. This ain't about black people. This is about another way of tying false narratives of blacks with Trump. Those people must be crazy. So let's get the blacks who are against Trump to be used as pawns. They use these people as pawns, and we think it was just the black people. No. Look at the Cuomo's brother went to jail. He went to jail. What about Donna Brazile and Roland Martin when they leaked out WikiLeaks information on Hillary Clinton? Y'all look that up. These people have been selling us false goods for decades. This is nothing new. They just got busted. Now the question is, who do you believe if they're contriving to this level? For how long? What is real truths?
Jussie Smollett went out and made up this whole narrative, and then everybody ran with it. I don't know how any of that was real. So to me, you're desperate at that point. So here's what I would say. One of the things you got to pay attention to is when they use dog whistle politics, when they overly racialize everything, what they're basically doing is they're playing you for a sucker and they're undermining your humanity, right? If I reduce every conflict you have or every situation you're in to simply white and black every time without even taking the time to get the facts of the situation, I'm stealing your ability to simply be a human being. Maybe you got into it with that guy because you thought he was an asshole. He thought you were an asshole too. How about that be a possibility? Why does it always have to be the assumption that it's racial, right? Because again, it doesn't mean things aren't racial in America. They can be. The racism I see is the systematic racism. When I go to downtown Chicago, run by the Democrats, I see $100 million buildings that are owned by white people. And then I go to the South and the West side where black people are being shot up in the streets with nothing, with no resources. And the white people who are feeding you all the symbolism ain't feeding you none of the goddamn money. They'll feed you the symbolism because symbolism is for suckers and suckers come cheap. Suckers come cheap. So they say, look, we ain't gonna give you no money, but we'll give you symbolism, because if you're crazy enough to think that symbolism matters, then we'll feed you symbolism all day. They printing symbolism like cryptocurrency. Seriously, they just Black Lives Matter. But if Black Lives really matter, then take one of those 2 or 3 of those $100 million buildings in downtown Chicago and sign them over to black people right now, so we can take those facilities and sell them and put resources in the community. How about that, right. Gory Lightfoot? Her name's Lori Lightfoot, but I call her Gory Lightfoot because she's ugly and she gets on my damn nerves.
Same thing as
I'm sorry, she just does. I'm sorry. I know y'all. Somebody might make it into a Boyce is saying something negative about a black woman. Well, yeah, sometimes I do. If you raggedy, I'm gonna talk
Baltimore,
about you.
that's the word I was thinking. Baltimore.
I'm sorry. I have zero connection to any of this because none of this moves the needle. You have more black people dying than ever. And somehow, some way, they're going to scour the whole earth to try to find some situation where a white guy killed a black guy and say, this is why black people are dying. But yet, at the same time, that black people are dying everywhere. Like, you're literally dying, dropping like flies, right? From all kinds of stuff. And you're like, well, black people are dying over there and over there and over there and over there. They're like, well, I didn't see any of that, but I did see that one situation in South Carolina. Really? Really? So the situations they see happen to be the ones that fit into their narrative. Because here, pay attention. Here's where it all comes full circle. How they steal your economics. This dog whistle politics works because it keeps you in fear.
Right.
Because if I keep you in fear, I don't actually have to do anything for you.
Nope.
Because every time you come to me and ask for something, I can tell you, well, you know what? That would be important, but it's not important now because
you ask emotionally and you present emotionally. We should present bills or legislation to our local and federal leaders to create an executive order. And we don't have to ask you for anything. We are petitioning, putting it in writing, and now we're going to hold you accountable, Mr. President. Instead, all y'all, including the Republicans, you Negroes, get out there and you get an opportunity to do a jab against the president on issues for your community. What do? You get up there and you do your photo ops. And you exalt these people. And that's why you have this crazy administration today. And then you got people who play the neutral Negroes, like this man. He plays the neutral Negro. He wasn't a big Trump supporter. He didn't like Trump either. But I bet you're loving Biden, ain't you, Mr. Watkins? You're loving Biden? He's probably saying no. But obviously, you don't realize that politics is the better of the two evils. You can pick Trump and take his candy, or you can take this man's candy. Well, I don't like either one of them, so I'm not going to vote. Then someone is going to think and act for you. If you don't vote, then who will? Well, all the votes don't count. So we all go into these conversations. I don't care about those votes. Let's focus on an issue to get an executive order so that Black people can get something out of this leverage game that they're giving every other cultures of people. They leverage the rights and the civil rights of our rights with other people, and we get into rants, emotional rants on issues like this one that we're discussing that pulls us away, and that's media driven, and it's self-driven, and it's people-driven. Did you hear? Did you hear? Did you hear how broke that man is on 5th and Town? Did you hear how many homeless people? Did you hear about more Black children getting harassed by foreigners in this country? Black children who can't learn because you got half English, half Spanish classes in California? Did you hear that the property management and the managements of your utilities are all Latinos? And that when they get in line, they speak in Spanish for 15 minutes and then they decide to help you? Did you hear? Stay woke.
You got an emergency. It's good. The world's coming to an end. They coming to kill you. Trump's boys gonna come kill you. So just vote. Just give me a vote, and then we'll talk about it after. When Ice Cube came on here, and he was up here trying to talk to the Democrats, and me and him were talking quite a bit at that time. Do you know what they said? They said something like, "Well, we just gotta get Trump out of office now, and then we'll talk about all these Black issues after the election. After the election." Well, after the election, they never called him back. They never called him back. The only time he could get them on the phone or to have a meeting was when they needed something from Black people, and they knew that he was one of the people that was blocking them from getting what they wanted. Once they had what they wanted, they dumped you on the side of the road like a $2 hooker. They left you on the corner like a $2 hoe. Seriously. They literally said, well, you keep playing yourself for a sucker, then we're gonna keep treating you like a sucker, because suckers get the life sucked out of them. So you make a decision. You make a decision. But I'm gonna tell you, over in this space, my goal is to make this space completely sucker free. Complete sucker free. So if you're a sucker, then don't come back. Go do what you're gonna do. I wish you the best. I hope your strategy works. God bless you and all your allies. But over here, no. I won't call it for what it is. That Jussie Smollett situation was BS from the start. I'm trying not to cuss so much, so I'm not gonna say what I'm really thinking. Y'all know what it is. But it was BS from the start. A lot of smart people could see right through it. And even if it had been true, what does that got to do with the price of tea in China? It ain't got nothing to do with the price of tea in China, because your people are still dying in the street. Democrat, Republican, your people still dying in the street. You're the one that's going to have to fix that at some point by taking a stand on certain issues. Also, when you talk about the important things like, well, look, if you love me, when white folks are around talking about Black Lives Matter and all this stuff, okay, Lori Lightfoot, I go through downtown Chicago and I see about 1,000 buildings that are worth tens of millions, hundreds, maybe over 100, $200 million all throughout Chicago. I'm going to pick out the biggest ones, and I want you to sign those buildings over to Black people, sign that real estate over to us so that we can then use that to supply something to our community. I want you to do that. And then tell me Black Lives Matter. If people aren't willing to write a check, then their words mean absolutely nothing. And that's what you got to learn about these politics, man. These politicians will lie to you as long as you will accept a good lie over the uncomfortable truth. So let's dig for the truth, man. So the Jussie Smollett thing, I don't care nothing about Jussie. I just, I think the Empire is a show for other people. It's not my type of show. I think Lee Daniels is a sick son of a bitch. He's mentally ill. I think Jussie Smollett was a guy who was lying because he was desperate and wanted to save his career and make himself relevant. Again, I think that his lie, you know what his lie made me think of? I told my mom, I said, he telling them crackhead stories, man. Like he sound like a crackhead, like that really thinks, he probably really thought this was a good plan. He was really sitting with his friends like, yeah, man, this is going to be great. We're going to really have a come up off of this. Like, I think he really thought it was good. And it made me think about, remember Tootie from The Facts of Life? Kim Fields played Tootie on The Facts of Life. And there was one episode I saw. This is the episode that made me say no to drugs. So you got to say no to drugs, or you be out here telling crackhead stories, thinking that you're making sense, but you're not, because drugs mess up your brain. So I watched this episode where it was like one of those just say no type episodes, and Tootie had tried weed. She tried marijuana, right? Because back then marijuana was bad, right? So Tootie goes and the night before a big test, she smokes some weed and writes her paper, right? And she gets up the next morning. She says, "Mrs. Garrett, I wrote this paper and it was really good. I want you to read it because I think it was really good." So she goes, so Mrs. Garrett's like, "Okay, well, let me read it." And she reads it and it says, "The whale is big." and she's like, "Tootie, what is this? This doesn't make any sense." She's like, "Yeah, Mrs. Garrett, it sounded like a good idea back when I was back when I was writing it. I thought that it was a good idea, but I guess it wasn't such a good idea." So it kind of just made me think about that episode of The Facts of Life where Tootie, was getting high and thought that her ideas were good ideas, but they weren't good ideas. So with Jussie Smollett, that to me, that was like a crackhead plan. That's why you don't let the crackheads make the plan, because the crackheads go think it's a good idea, but it's not. And then also, I just think that it was like, it's a reminder also just in generally in your life, like when you get around, I hate drugs. Like I hate what drugs have done generally to the Black community, what they've done to our families, all this stuff. And also I would just tell you, just as a little Uncle Boyce advice, don't go into business with a drug addict. Don't get into a relationship with a drug addict. Just drug addicts will mess up. They're gonna mess up your stuff every single time. So, and if you are, thinking about your own life, don't mess with anything that's gonna really alter your mind like that. You gotta be alert. If you're really trying to fight this whole thing, this whole white supremacy thing, or trying to accomplish your goals, trying to become successful, everything else, you have to be mentally alert. If you're not mentally alert, if you are under the influence of a mind-altering substance, you will make mistakes. You won't be ready. You're going to be vulnerable. They're going to take you out. Malcolm X said it. He said that the white man will sell you the liquor bottle and then lock you up for being drunk. Right? He said that he'll sell you the liquor bottle and then lock you up for being drunk, because they want the Black man to be high. They want the Black man to be drunk. They want the Black man to be out of his mind. They want the Black man to be knocked out and laid out and unconscious. Why? Well, because the conscious, intelligent Black man is the biggest threat in the world. When you have an intelligent, conscious Black man who's fully alert and not afraid of you, that is a tremendous threat. So when I think about conscious, intelligent, and on their game, I think about people like Nuri Muhammad from the Nation of Islam. You ain't never gonna see Nuri passed out on the corner drunk. You ain't gonna see Nuri out here talking about, hey man, where the liquor and the weed, where the hoes at, man? You ain't gonna see Nuri walking around with eyes blurry, just kind of barely hanging up. No, you see, look, Nuri's ready. Nuri's a soldier. Nuri's a guy I would go to battle with any day of the week. These are solid people. Look for those solid people in your life, because those are the people that you can build with. That's why I love my soldiers. I always give a shout out to my soldiers, the veterans that are in this group, because those you all have a lot of that as well. Like they because that's the military doesn't let you do that type of stuff. You gotta get on code, get on mission, get the job done. Don't be scared. You gotta fight for what you want. You have to make a plan. You have to be strategic. Those are the people that help us win battles, right? This other stuff that they're promoting to you, rappers who use drugs every single day and then rap about it to children, those motherfuckers are worse than the Klan. They are worse than the KKK. They do more damage to the Black community than the Klan ever could, because if the Klan delivers the poison, you ain't gonna take it. But if they deliver the poison with your favorite rapper to a dope beat, oh, you'll dance right along to your own genocide.
Now, I'm gonna stop it right there. Think about what he just said. That's a deep statement that he just said. Because the fact that, again, I said they've been doing this for decades. Who killed Malcolm X? A Black man. They have planted these people in our community to destroy our community so that we're self-destructive. They continue to give guns to the children in our communities nationwide so that we continue to destroy each other. People in Chicago and other states have found trucks. I've told stories for decades over the years of equipment and stuff just left abandoned and unlocked. It's a setup. Guns left. It's a setup. Because they want you to be destructive. You ain't had nothing. You ain't got nothing. You're going to get something. They know that. They won't give you loans. They won't provide any leverage. And the activists continue to be supported by the bad activists, by crazy liberal media agenda driven stories. Shout out to Dr. Watkins. Boy, you on point today.
So just keep that in mind. That's what it is. That's what I'm seeing. So please be very careful. My sister's asking, do you drink alcohol? No, I do not. But I do not judge those who do. I think alcohol in moderation is fine. I don't, I don't mess with it. I say be careful though, because there are studies out here that say that alcohol actually is the most dangerous drug in the world. And the part of the reason that it's so dangerous is because people are not afraid of it. They think it's okay. They think it's safe, right? So actually, if you count up the number of deaths, alcohol leads the pack. It blows away crack, heroin, everything else. If you count up the number, like broken families and people getting arrested and just terrible things happening, alcohol's near the top of the list. So I don't mess with it, but because it's so popular, I don't say much about it. And so when I go out places and people want to drink, I just say, hey, I'll be the designated driver. But I'm telling you, when I get out here, I think, and this is generally speaking, ain't nothing wrong with thinking like this in my view. I encourage you, if you think like this already, I want to encourage you to let that part of yourself out. I always felt as a Black man, I want to be a competitor with the world. I want to achieve my goals. And in order for me to be an optimal competitor, I have to be alert. I have to be ready. I have to be observant of what's going on. I have to be conscious, woke on every level, like real woke. Not fake woke, not Black Lives Matter woke, not Democratic Party woke. I'm talking about like really woke, to the point where you can question and observe everything. And a person who's under the influence is not capable of doing that. So that person is typically very easily exploited. So just be thoughtful about your policy on drugs and alcohol. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to preach to you and tell you what you should and shouldn't do. I'm just here to encourage you to seek out whatever solution makes you into your best self. Because when a Black person shows up as their best self, white supremacy can't stop that. White supremacy can't stop that. If you put Black excellence and white supremacy in the same room and they get in a fight, Black excellence wins 157-12. Like white supremacy cannot defeat Black excellence on any level. So be excellent, okay? So anyway, I'm gonna go, guys. I hope you guys have a good night. Some of you were asking about the recording for the event earlier tonight. Go just sign up. I think if you let me see here. Get a free copy of my ebook. We'll email something out tomorrow. So if you go to the link in the bio, or if you go to boycewatkins.com, you will find a link to get a free copy of my book. What it'll do is it'll put you on the email list. And
shout out to Dr. Watkins. Shout out to Dr. Watkins, because the brother's on point. The brother is on point on what he has to say, and what he said about Jussie Smollett is absolutely the truth. Thank you guys so much for chiming in. I really appreciate it. You guys are always here to support me and hear my rants. But most of all, I get a lot of love from you guys with how we believe and how we think. Because Jussie Smollett has a small mind, small brain. Does he? I think he thinks he has. Let me tell you why I think he has a small brain. Because you allowed yourself to be a pawn on a bigger chessboard. I'm gonna let all that sink in with all y'all. This man thought equated to thinking he was going to make himself a pawn. And remember, if you're a pawn on a chessboard and you get all the way across, you become what? A queen. Okay? You become empowered to have the moves to do anything you want. But you got to start off as something if you're not what you really are, which is really an unwanted piece of tool to be used like the pawn. Because most pawns don't ever get that far all the way over to the other side of the game board. That's when I look at this man as a pawn. And that's why he's small-minded. That's why he's small-minded. He goes on small-minded, dropping the soap at times. might do it on purpose. You know what? I'm telling you, this is what this whole video has been talking about, right? Well, we're talking about how these people have, you had him, you had Don Lemon, you have Amanda talking about this a hoax. She called it a hoax. Y'all saw that video. You can go back and rim up that little tail end tip, which should have been the primary or alternative tip of the real truth. It makes you wonder if she was into it. Talking about I blast his lawyers. No. This is not Max. Let me say this to you. Let's finish completing the sentence. No way. No hell would take his trial. Okay, this case was supposed to be settled a long time ago. Law 101, money grab. I agree. I think before Law 101 and money grab, this is all tension. This is a man who's condescending and seeking attention. So yeah. People can have lawyers, don't mean they're going to listen to them. Alec Baldwin ain't listening to his attorneys. Or is he listening to his attorneys? I think he's going to play crazy so he don't go to jail. You heard him on national television saying he didn't shoot that woman. Like, I don't know what happened with that. Do you know what I'd do? I'd kill myself if I shot that woman. See, that's how I'm mental. You got people who were on that set who witnessed you shooting her. She saw you shoot her. The camera saw you shoot her because they was filming. And now you claiming that you didn't know you shot her. Yeah, they're all in the same boat together, honey. They're delusional. They're not money grabbers. They're condescending, and their egotistic antics have now caught up with them. Their ability to have the power of the media, like Don Lemon and the rest of them, to manipulate the minds of the American people for not the betterment of the American people, need to be exposed. They all want attention. Now they're getting attentions. They should be prosecuted. And everyone affiliated with them who knew about this case and supported, allegedly behind the scene, allegedly, should be questioned. All you people need to be questioned, allegedly, for this whole alleged video. Let's keep going. VR Tech. All right, Mary. You got me to say it. These dumb ones. When life gives you lemon. Everybody says that. If life gives you Don Lemon, it gives you lemonade. Yes, honey. Don Lemon in his little gay AIDS situation. If you had to ask Don Lemon, who comes first, black people or gay people? You know that boy be saying sucking them sausages will always give you what you really want. Anyway, sounds kind of like a CNN Roger Stone house at 5 a.m. while the police. Okay, Brunson and fake people. This is a good point, honey. Miss Sanchez, thank you so much. You brought that story to the plate. I mean, they went hard on Roger Stone, right? They went hard on that old man. They went hard on him. They talked about him and acted like they had some investigative report, and then their stories come off so authentic and so like whoever's writing the script for CNN, they should be a movie writer. The whole thing is scripted, obviously. Don Lemon had a script for that man, and they have a whole script against Roger Stone. Shout out to Roger Stone if you're watching. Anybody knows Roger Stone, you might want to correlate those stories together, how these people are using their platforms to falsify false truths and good truths of people. Good people are getting falsified through that. Hey, Eric, thank you so much for being my moderator for tonight. You have been wonderful. You're right. They don't go together. You say they don't, I say they do. Why do they go together? I'm going to tell you why they go together. Because it's the media having the power to twist and turn stories and the narratives for an agenda of other people. Every time we watch the news, are they really telling us the news? Are they telling us what we really want to hear? Or are they telling us what they want us to hear? Really? This is what they want us to hear. They don't give the facts that could be more helpful of having clarity. They're going to give them facts that are making you a victim, or the person who did you wrong, or person who they're talking about is a protagonizer. They're the ones that are hurting the American people. Nobody asked for all that, but that's what we're learning, right? Through Caruso, that's what we're learning with Don Lemon, even Amanda, who's up there on the reel. It seems like she was part of that plight too. When she knew that she knew that this is a street girl. She got more common sense than that. But you had these people justify them. And when the other ones like Dr. Watkins never supported that. I never supported what Jussie Smollett did. So when you have the media being able to twist these stories to have you lean more liberal and more unstable in your ways, something's wrong with that. So yeah, it's all tied together because there's things that Roger Moore was doing that some people may not understand. And their influencement of getting the court to sway against him or sway against him in any way is a big factor here. I do think they go together. Let's see. There's a new comment. It keeps going. All right. Good morning, Shirley. Do you think Donald Trump's going to prison? No, I do not think Donald Trump is going to prison. I do not think Donald Trump is going to prison at all. So shush up to you. Well, that's me. I put La La David. Okay, here's one. I don't know what you mean by Don Lemon should be fired from CNN, right? Along with his sticky fingers. Ooh, honey, you are preaching the truth. But you know what? Them liberals can't let two of their people go. They can't let Don Lemon go because they let, who was the one before that? He was Rodriguez. Wasn't it Rodriguez or something? CNN has before Caruso, there was another guy. And so anyway, they're getting busted. Somebody's blowing some whistles to tip that they're really messing with the Democrats' main source, which is the media. So shout out to the Republican or the underground movement that are doing things to get this happening. Because it makes you question, like, wait a minute. CNN just lost another anchor. They've lost Caruso. And now there's enough evidence to me they should let go of Don Lemon. Don, it was one nice to have you there. Goodbye. But they maybe can't because Don's gay and he's black and he sucks white dick. We can't let that go. That's too many parts they like about that man. If I ever saw Don Lemon again, I'd say, with your life, you should have got turned out by a black woman. Get away from that white dick. Anyway. So, thank you. Look, this thing ain't showing it. This one. Here we go. I'm sorry. I'm clicking and it's not coming up. I said, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me tell you. She said, Amanda is not. Did y'all know this? Somebody chatted, well, what is she? If she not FBA or ADOS or F1, FB1, well, what is the girl? What is the girl? I didn't say the woman. I said like they say in the South because I'm hanging around these Texas people. And it's funny because now when I go back to California, they say, you're picking up their words. I say, yeah, I got to break that madness. But it is fun. Anyway, yeah, girl. Somebody tell me what she is in the chat room because I don't know what the girls, what nationality is Amanda from the real? Because if that's the case, she's down that immigrant trail. So she's part of the problem. That's part of the problem right there. Somebody tell me before I get off this doggone chat of this video. Good morning, all. Good morning. Some of y'all waking up and I'm just not going to sleep. That's why I'm on this computer. Good morning from Atlanta. Atlanta. I love you, Atlanta. I appreciate everything that you got to say. So anyway, to sum up this story, like I said, the reason at the very beginning of what I say, I said the reason Jussie Smollett is going to jail is because Jussie Smollett took the MAGA people down. They were all angry that the country was driven and controlled by the MAGA people. They got tired of them red hats, him and all the media, and they were losing power. And that is why this man went on this rant and became a pawn on a chessboard, which he was not worthy of. Because he will never play chess again with the big boys. Because they put their name, even Kamala wannabe Harris, if you look up the videos, she was justifying protecting this coon. That coon. She was a coon. This man is a coon for the white Democrats. And all the Democrats that are anti-black and all the Democrats that want to use blacks and gays. You use narratives that, these are buzzwords. He's black, he's gay, and you cause, in my opinion, all those people on Empire, they lost their job because of him. The show had already low ratings, right? But it wasn't going off the air. Once he did this act, it took all the people out of work. Now let's think about it. Not just the actors, but the people who did the lighting, the people who did the sounds, the cinematographer, the director, the producer. All those people lost their jobs. All for this little Negro and his issues. And all these inside trading kind of people. Look at these people. Honey, look, these people have an agenda against this man with this red hat. They're against this man. They didn't like the fact that he was making some moves. So he's going to go in court and lie before the jury, like with a straight face. And like when he told himself, I'm the Black Tupac. Nigga, you ain't no Black Tupac. What do you, when you said that, I said, come on. Now, you just didn't really took it to a whole nother, ain't no level to go to kind of thing. Like you really taking it to the crazy level. That's why when Dr. Watkins said, he's like, is he smoking crack? That's the lowest of the low. That's what Dr. Watkins was trying to have you understand. That's the lowest of the low that could do that and think that way. But someone paid all these people to drive stories that are unrelatable and unconnected to the American people. Things that distract you from your everyday lives. Things that pull away from you so that you're not paying attention to the money factors in your life. And remember, Black people are in this country and they're used as commoditized goods, trades, and service. That's what we're used for. And if we don't realize that and go back to realize that we need to focus on three major factors: God, family, and country. White people too. Everybody needs to have an agenda to focus on their own lives and not be caught up in the BS that's going on in this world. Because if we do realize that, then we'll have a clearer conscience of where we have to go to in the future. But if we don't realize that, then we're going to make a mistake, and that's not good. Oh, wait a minute. Where's her family from? Who are we talking about? Oh, yeah, Amanda. Amanda's family is from the islands. Which island? Jamaica? What island? What island is she from? Y'all dig a little longer before I go off the air. What island is Amanda? Amanda went on. Doggone, I think I took that video down. Let me look for that video. I took that video down. No, I didn't. Hold on. Well, yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm going to see if I can show that part of the clip because we were all like, ooh, that was
low-key noble. Like,
I mean, did you hear that story? Low-key noble. Low-key noble. So, yeah. Hold on.
I was under the assumption that
Okay, she said, What he did was low-key noble.
And what isn't. I need something to fill the
Hold on, I'm getting to it.
content. Ideas. Anyway, guys, till next time.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Oh, hold on. I want you to hear this part of this video again so that we can discuss it. Because it does make you think, right? All these people who have their agenda and supporting this cuckoo for Cocoa
Show
man
Empire was a
put their career name on the line for this man. Okay, let me show her face, because if I don't show her face, y'all who don't know who Amanda was, she was on the Real and she quit.
This will be a great place to start.
And at the end of this little video, you will see what she says about Jussie Smollett, because it was talked about in the chat room. So I'm just following the chat room. Ain't no legend. It's just according to the video. There we go. You see, this is young lady, very smart, very pretty, was on The View, and she quit. But this is what she said regarding the Smollett case at that time of it being released.
And even if it was a hoax for the sake of bringing attention to this.
And even if it was a hoax, I don't know how to get rid of this. Even if it was a hoax for the sake of bringing attention to this, her eyes look down and she's reading. Because she can't say this with a straight face to the camera. She says this with her eyes looking down. But they told her, you're going to say this on camera. And they said right at the end. Let me play it so you can hear it. I look at her body language. Look where she's looking. Look where she's looking. When she says that, she starts looking down and she's got to read it and act like it's part of her thought pattern. But she knew exactly how to put these words together.
For the sake of bringing attention to this, then I'm like, that's low-key noble. Like, I'm at my wit's end about us.
She said, this is low-key noble. She had to think that through. That's a lot. Because this was not a noble act. This was a lie. This was a joke. This was somebody on crack, like that Dr. Watkins says. Let me
entering situations like this and wanting to make people have to pay.
And wanting people have to pay. Making people want to have to pay. Pay for what? Another person that hates Trump. That's what this is about. She's another one that hates Trump. And so all those people were so angry that Trump won that election. For those who might watch this in the future with history, sorry about that. They were so angry that Trump got elected. They wanted him out. They wanted him off. Oh, she's a butter biscuit. You said she's a butter biscuit. You ain't lying. You ain't lying. The girl's a butter biscuit. The girl is a butter biscuit. Because I had to block one of these. Florence, you're going to get blocked. I don't know who the hell you are. I ain't even putting your ass in timeout. These Chinese people come in, or whatever crazy people come in. I shouldn't say Chinese because this might not be Chinese. But whatever the case may be, y'all come in and you're always trying to post your stuff that has not, you ain't even part of the community. Okay? Those people ain't even part of the community. Yep, I totally agree. She's a butter biscuit. You know, I don't understand why she stepped down, because that platform that The View provided her gave her real relevancy. But she probably got tired of the other side trying to use her as a pawn. And she wasn't feeling all that. She probably got involved in them dark waters and they said, you're going to do this or you're going to lose it. So she says, I'll just quit. Why would you quit? We need you as a pawn. Like Don Lemon and the rest of them. You remember I talked about, and I didn't show you this, but I told you about Donna Brazile and Roland Martin and how WikiLeaks said that they leaked out stuff to and emails to the Clintons before they went on national television. Who do we believe, man? That's all I want to know. Who can we trust? Who do we believe that's going to talk and work in our best interest? That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know, family. I mean, it's ridiculous. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Oh, yeah, I blocked them. Reparations. Dr. Watkins mentioned reparations. We got to stay on reparations. I think we have to stay on acknowledging our issues and our demands. Make sure you watch that previous reparations committee that's coming together nicely. Good people, good teams that are coming together with ideologies and views, and understand that they need to come from a legal and a written perspective than an emotional perspective. Looking back at history, understanding through the years of history of what we've been entitled to and what we weren't given. All these things are important because otherwise they're going to keep reverting back to this man. And they're going to keep talking about this man. And I get on shows and people ask me, what do you think about Trump? I said, I don't. He's in Mar-a-Lago and I got to keep working and paying my bills. I don't get you guys. You guys want to continue to down this man. He's no longer president. You're living under the regime of a president right now who is not working in your best interest. What this man is doing is he's taking you back to the Carter years. That's what you're going back to. Do your homework. I did a whole video on the Carter years. He's the one that's taking that scale and tipping it against you. Biden and this administration. Oh, Kamala wannabe administration. As they use the media to leverage against you. You one person and different media people, they got you down there weighted with worry and fear and confusion. You ain't gonna never get off your feet. You ain't gonna never get up. It looks like and then give you the illusion that they're the ones lifting you up. Okay? Giving you the illusion that they're the ones lifting you up. You know that they are not lifting you up. You know they don't care about the Black community. These people only care about what? Themselves. And until you realize these people only care about themselves, you'll never have an understanding of what I've said before. Food, water, and shelter, God, family, and country. You have to have that balance in your life. And then by doing that, you can get yourself ahead of the race. But until you identify, you don't. Shout out to our sponsor, CalTexasHome.com. If you had not have a chance, go to CalTexasHomes.com and learn about ways of getting out of the crazy blue state to move in a state that talks about economic empowerment. If you don't know, Texas does not have any income state tax. And if you are a veteran and you meet the requirements of the veteran laws, you don't pay any property tax. So there's a lot of ways that are moving people forward. If you are tired of all the political mess, there are certain states and cities. Houston has 26% Blacks, and Killeen has over 40.4% Blacks. So there are these southern states that are embracing the Black community and loving the Black community. Because if you're going through those struggles right there, the eviction, the moratorium, the homelessness, and you're running out of money as I'm talking to you, you need to go to Cal Texas Homes and contact them immediately. Let's do a one-on-one and get you situated with a realtor. There's even programs out there that we have that will help people who are renting have an option to do rent-to-own. You know how people do rent-to-own furniture? You can do rent-to-own on a house. They will give you the loan for the purchase of a choice of a home for you, your personal choice. You're able to do that. I love Cal Texas Home. Oh my God. Shout out to everyone who has watched it and followed it. And shout out to Veronica. She contacted, and that's my only shout out. We've got a couple others, but I don't want to go too far deeper into it. But I just want to tell you, it is important that you understand that you guys need to get yourself out there and think about where you're living. Because in the United States, there's a lot of kooky things going on. And if these lies that have been pushed through the media have kept these states blue and in poverty and hurting and homelessness and immigration and illegal immigration has been driven in these blue states, and the rest of the red country is now spilling over into these states. God bless this country. God bless the men and women who realize that they need to stay woke because of them being tipped up against. But if the media is out there constantly promoting things in your head and you're not conscious that the media is in your head, you got problems. You got problems. And generationally, you need to be thinking about your family. You need to understand generationally, this is a generational attack. They've been attacking us for years. Your parents, your grandparents, the antics, the words, the things that they have, the laws in place. The Willie Lynch laws, little things that they would do. The Great Society, that didn't help black people. Things that just don't help black people. Obama policies didn't help black people, descendants of slaves, and now the word black is said wrong. Sorry about that. The word black is stated wrong. So anyway, slavery's on the mind. They have taken the shackles off of your feet and they put it on your mind. And they put it on your checkbooks. I can go on and on. This is a sad situation. This brother put himself out there just for attention. And this man used his platform for it, all for one thing, a hatred to this man. That man right there. They did all that to take him. They're like, they're going to take him out. And they did. They took him out. I'm sorry. They took the man out. Now, aren't we doing better because Trump's not in office? You people crazy. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and give me comments below. Tell me what you think about this video. I praise God for Dr. Watkins. He's a good man. I know he's had some things where people may agree or disagree, but hell, if y'all ain't putting yourself out there, at least he's trying. I'm going to give him props. Shout out to Tariq. Make sure you follow his show. Tariq be tripping. I love Tariq, though. Brother from Cali, shout out to him. He's a good man. But all this for the hatred of this man. All this stirred up fake news for this man. All these people constantly are mad because of this man. You can hire these guys and make them flunkies because of this man. Think about this. They got us focused away because of this man. But we ain't even focused on this. We too busy talking about this man. We could took executive orders and put bills together. Hey, you could have looked. Yeah, they tripping on me tonight. Maybe because it's late and I'm preaching too much truth. They could have pivoted little black kids to make a difference regarding reparations. I'm sorry, it's the next generation, right? But no, they found other issues and have us constantly keep talking about this man. It gets old, and it affects your checkbooks. Because while other people got they clamping on to money, you can look at this as change to the bank for debt. Or you can look at it as change to the bank that will always get you going, that will always put it into your pocketbook. Not black people's bank, because we're too focused on this man. Well, this man is no longer president of the United States. That's not your president anymore. Your president is Joe Biden. I don't have pictures of Joe Biden in here, and I ain't got nothing to show you. Joe Biden is now your president. And Joe Biden and the flunkies are out there and the media. Someone behind the scenes is exposing these people who basically don't tell real truths anymore to the American people. And it's up to you to stay conscious. The scripture says, faith without works is dead. You have to have faith to know the real works of the truth that's out there. You want God to bless you, give you good opportunities and open up doors. You have to work towards it. That means you need to take the things that are distracting you in your mind off of that and focus on the good and the faith that you need. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Speak life to yourself. Speak good things to yourself. Don't get in conversation with people who sit back and want to tell you about some BS situation and lead from a point of disposition. I'm going to do a whole video on that. I haven't done it yet. I'm putting it together. It's going to be deep. But when you get in the conversation with somebody in the first 3 minutes, they're going to tell you where they're from and what they don't have. Run. Get out of that treadmill. Run. Get out of that hamster cage. And don't ever call them back. Because the first 3 minutes is always talking from a disposition of their life with no positive things to say. And you should run away from the media people who create these lies that you're seeing right here. Created by these people who can hire a bunch of people, a bunch of Africans to do anything, that they took the check to the police. Oh no, my brother, I did not do this to Jessie. Jessie paid me to have him look this way. Jessie paid me to put the noose around his neck. I put the noose around his neck, and yes, I did hit him but he told us to do this. This might be a part of a physical treatment that he likes done to him. I don't know. I did not say those things. He said we say those things. He paid for everything. I don't know. This is a trip. Anyway, shout out to you guys. Love you. Love President Trump. Thank you, Boyce Watkins, for being so sweet to being on the show. Shout out to Boyce Watkins. Look forward to being on his show. Stay woke, folks. And that means stay conscious, because there's too many people distracting real truths with falsified goods. This will be a continued story, because you know what the continuation will be? This thing could be overturned. Is that some bullshit right there? Anyway, good night, good morning, good afternoon. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you for the people who are listening at this early in the morning. If there's some other topic you want me to talk about, let me know. I was not sleeping, so I decided to do this video. Love you guys. I'm going to do some Shirley Hussar classics. I will do some Shirley Hussar classic videos so that you can see some of the things that I said. I was listening to another talk show, and they were saying, Shirley wasn't talking about Black people first a long time ago. I've been talking about first Black people since 2004. Boo-boo, go do the homework. That's over 20 years I've been doing this. Oh, it's kind of scary. Love y'all.